Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian Lad, and I just watched the second trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day at 0.25x speed and found 20 new details. I found hidden details in this web tornado shot, Hulk having two different faces, Spider-Man's web causing damage to Hulk's skin, and many more hidden details that will literally blow your mind. Now I know I'm very late with this video because many of you might already know that I got married to the love of my life on June 24th. So you know, that explains the delay. Anyway, since my friends at Heavy Spoilers and Screen Crush have already done an in-depth breakdown, so I've decided to go back to my signature style where I reveal hidden details I found one by one. In other words, in this video, I will only reveal visual hidden details that I've caught. I won't try to theorize too much in this one. I'll do that in a separate video. Now, I should also mention that Sony has released several TV spots with footage that are new from the second trailer. So I will also be revealing hidden details and Easter eggs from those. Alright, enough said, now let's begin our breakdown. Number 1. We see a parade being held for Spider-Man by all of his fans in New York. Tom's Peter Parker attending a parade about himself feels like a direct parallel to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3, where he also attended his own Spider-Man rally. But what's interesting is that some of the signs in this crowd aren't just celebrating Spider-Man, they're wishing him a speedy recovery. This sign says Spidey Recovery and this one says Get Well Soon Spidey, meaning this parade will take place towards the end of the film or at least during the second half. Because clearly at some point before this, Spider-Man gets absolutely destroyed in public, like badly enough that the whole city knows about it, and his fans gather together to show support and wish him well. And based on this, I think there's a real chance that the movie could be adapting this iconic comic panel where the Punisher is holding a badly wounded Spider-Man in his arms. And if you think about it, Tobey's Peter was living the best moment of his life and was rewarded with the city's recognition. Meanwhile, Tom's Peter is living the worst moment of his life, as none of his loved ones remember him. But in this scene, he's comforted by the city's recognition. That's why Tom's little smile is so impactful. So even though Peter Parker has nobody, Spider-Man still has New York. And it also shows how far Peter has come in the MCU. Back in 2021, people hated him. And now in 2026, everyone loves Spider-Man. Number 2. The scene where Spider-Man goes up against the hand inside the prison might end up being one of the best action sequences in live-action Spider-Man history. I'm not even exaggerating here. This entire sequence was choreographed by Jackie Chan's stunt team. So you already know the hand-to-hand combat is gonna be insane. And this is where we see a fully formed web tornado for the first time. Basically, Spider-Man crosses his wrists together, releases his organic webbing, and creates this spinning vortex around him. With his hair all slicked back, and the way he just stares at the camera without blinking, this might be the coolest Spider-Man has ever looked on camera. What's even more fascinating is the texture of the webbing itself. His organic webbing here looks like Todd McFarlane's spaghetti webbing from the comics. If we do a side-by-side comparison between his mechanical webbing and his organic webbing, the difference is actually pretty interesting. His manufactured webbing looks very clean, controlled, almost perfect, which makes sense because Peter designed that web fluid himself, so of course it reflects his own precision. But when you look at the organic webbing, it looks messier and more chaotic in its patterning, and yet at the same time it looks more natural, more alive. So hats off to the VFX team here, they've really managed to visually separate the two. And one more thing I noticed about this shot is that technically Peter doesn't even need to do the classic Spider-Man hand gesture anymore. This whole web shooting pose we all know is basically how he activates the mechanical web shooters, by pressing the button with his middle and ring fingers. But now that he has organic webbing, he doesn't actually need to do that. So the fact that he still does it here tells me this is just pure muscle memory. Number 3. When Peter tries to put on his mechanical web shooters on top of his organic webbing, notice the sheer force of the organic webbing completely blows the mechanical web shooters off his wrists. One of them gets stuck to this utility cabinet and the other is just left hanging by a thread of a webbing. But there's one more hidden detail here. Notice as soon as Peter puts on the web shooters on his wrists, a green light turns on inside the device. Now of course this could simply mean that the device is now activated and ready to use. But in a film that has the Incredible Hulk, I'd like to theorize on this for a second. I don't think Peter is trying to wear the mechanical web shooters because he hates the organic webbing. I think he's trying to control it. Maybe he's using the mechanical web shooters as some kind of a filter, almost like a device that can modify his organic webs and make them work against Bruce Banner's gamma radiation. And that could explain the green glow. And if we take a closer look at this monitor, from behind the scenes footage, we know Spider-Man will be working with MJ in this lab to fix Bruce Banner's inhibited chip. So that makes it even more possible that Peter might be developing some kind of anti-gamma webbing. Again, this is just a theory, so please take it with a grain of salt. Now, another small detail in this same shot is Tom Holland's facial expression. Look at Peter's face right when the webs come out. He looks like he's in actual pain. And since he is still very new to organic webbing at this point, I think every time the webs come out of his skin, it probably hurts. Almost like Wolverine in the comics, whenever he pulls out his claws, it hurts him.
When they come out, does it hurt?
Every time.
Number 4. In this scene, we see Spider-Man fighting Savage Hulk with what looks like the Shocker gauntlet, which we saw way back in Homecoming.
Here. Now you're the Shocker.
Shocker was of course arrested by the end of that movie, so my guess is that the gauntlet was later recovered by the Department of Damage Control. They probably upgraded it, modified it, and turned it into an even more powerful weapon, which makes it very likely that this fight is taking place inside a DODC building, as that would explain how Peter finds the gauntlet in the first place. It's probably just lying around somewhere during the chaos, and Peter grabs it because he was once on the receiving end of punches from this gauntlet. He knows this weapon gives a regular human being enough strength to flip up an entire school bus into the air. So imagine what it can do in Peter Parker's hands. And notice how this gauntlet almost looks sentient. We can see parts of it moving and shifting on their own as Spider-Man gears up to fight Hulk. Number 5. Here, Savage Hulk is being held back by Spider-Man's mechanical webbing. And how do we know it's not organic webbing? Because we can see the web shooters on Spidey's wrists. So this fight is taking place before he mutates. Now notice, even though this is still his mechanical webbing, it's actually leaving dents on Hulk's skin. And Hulk's skin is supposed to be almost impenetrable, and that tells you how powerful Peter's mechanical webbing already is before the mutation even happens. Just imagine what he's going to be able to do once the organic webbing fully kicks in. And I absolutely love this shot where Spider-Man leaps into the air and attempts to throw an uppercut at Hulk with the charged up gauntlet. I don't think we've ever seen Spider-Man move so freely in a Spider-Man film before. Number 6. In the second trailer, we get a better look at Bruce Banner's wrist device that prevents him from turning into the Hulk. It says on the small display, Gamma Suppressor Active. Now this device looked familiar because we saw Bruce wearing something similar in She-Hulk. This was the first time he showed up with this thing, and he said he built it himself.
I made this little device which keeps me in human form.
But now in Spider-Man Brand New Day, if I zoom in on the device, we can actually see a small Stark Industries logo on it. And that explains why it looks so much more advanced here, because the one Bruce made in She-Hulk looked a little rough. It worked, sure, but it definitely had that homemade makeshift feel to it. But now that Stark Industries is involved, the whole thing looks way more polished. The display is more advanced, and it seems like it has a lot more functionality than before. Number 7. Notice this wrist device also has some letters engraved on it that says ASM14, which stands for The Amazing Spider-Man number 14, which is the first comic appearance of Hulk and Spider-Man together. Number 8. In the English TV spot, we get a quick look at a scan of Peter's DNA, and it shows that his hormone levels is basically a mixture of human DNA and spider DNA. But in the Spanish TV spot, we are shown a different version of the same scene that shows the arachnid hormone is slowly taking over the human side of Peter Parker. And I think this scene might be connected to another shot from trailer 1 where we saw Spider-Man's entire body getting scanned. Now we know Peter is gonna seek Bruce Banner's help with his DNA mutation, so maybe at some point in the movie, Peter tells Banner that he's friends with Spider-Man and Spider-Man is having an issue. Banner then tells him to bring him to the lab, and that's when he runs a full body scan on Spider-Man, and that's when they realize what's actually happening. The English trailer tried to hide it, but the Spanish version showed us the truth. Number 9. From the first 3 pages of the script that were officially released as marketing material, we learned that Peter Parker has a new AI assistant in this movie called Evie. Now look at this scene where we see the villain, or the Mind Hopper, jumping from one person to another from Spider-Man's point of view. Now notice Spider-Man's heads-up display says VPN connected. This is a callback to Far From Home, where MJ told Peter to use a VPN so the government couldn't track him.
By the way, travel tip, you should probably download a VPN on your phone just so that the government can't track you while we're abroad.
Smart.
Will do.
Number 10. When the Mind Hopper keeps jumping from one body to another while talking to Spider-Man, notice in the scene where the Mind Hopper is possessing this particular pedestrian, the other pedestrian at the back is also staring at Spider-Man in this really creepy way. This might mean that whoever is doing the mind hopping isn't limited to one body at a time. Maybe they can jump between people instantly, or even worse, possess multiple bodies at the same time. Number 11. The scene where Bruce Banner finally transforms into the Hulk has been slightly altered in the TV spots. They've made some minor changes in the webbing and added additional debris to make the scene more realistic. Number 12. If we take a closer look at the room where Bruce Banner transforms into the Hulk, notice we can see monitors on the side that we've seen previously showing us Spider-Man's hormone levels. Meaning, this room where Banner hulks out is probably inside Banner's own lab in a high-rise building. Or this could be Banner's personal office in the Empire State University or in a DODC building. Number 13. In this scene where Spider-Man whips his web at Hulk and knocks him over, notice Hulk's face still looks a lot like Bruce Banner's. He's also wearing normal clothes, just like he did in Endgame, so this is probably Smart Hulk we're looking at here. But the other scene where he hulks out, there his appearance is much closer to the Savage Hulk we saw in Avengers 1. So what's going on? Why does Hulk have two different faces? Here's what I believe is happening here. Banner's wrist device somehow gets damaged, and it reverts back to being Smart Hulk. Then Smart Hulk becomes possessed by the Mind Hopper. Otherwise, why would Smart Hulk go after Spidey like that? Since Smart Hulk should still have Banner's consciousness and self-control. And after being possessed, he transforms once more. But this time into either Savage Hulk or Grey Hulk. And that's probably when Spidey says, "I didn't know he could get that big." The Korean TV spot also confirms that the Punisher will also be joining this fight and team up with Spider-Man. I cannot explain how cool this entire shot looks. Hulk is still in his Smart Hulk stage here. Spider-Man shoots a web to the wall with his left hand to generate momentum, and at the same time he shoots another web with his right hand toward Punisher, who is flat on the ground. I think Peter is trying to pull Frank out of danger here, because if he doesn't move him in time, Hulk is literally gonna land on top of him and smash him into the ground. Frank doesn't realize that these mere bullets won't do any harm to Hulk. Spidey knows that. Number 14. When Spider-Man jumps from top of this crane like Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse, notice we can see the Avengers Tower in the background. This is of course the new model of the tower after Val bought it in Thunderbolts. Number 15. When Spider-Man asks MJ to trust him and just go with him, MJ responds, "Fine."
You just have to trust me. Fine.
But notice what happens right before the shot cuts away. MJ is clearly about to grab something. And I think this is going to be a callback to what happened between MJ and Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker in No Way Home. Andrew's Peter said he was Spider-Man, but MJ just wouldn't believe him. She literally threw a bread at him and asked him to prove it. So I think something similar might happen here as well. Number 16. In this scene, we see Peter Parker swinging through New York without wearing the Spidey suit. Judging by Tom's expression here, we can assume something has clearly gone horribly wrong. Because Peter is not the kind of a guy who would casually swing out in public like this with his face completely exposed. And this scene cannot be at the end, because if you notice, he still has the mechanical web shooters on his wrists here. So this most likely takes place pretty early in the movie, before Peter fully develops organic webbing. Number 17. Tom Holland revealed in an interview that only one person from the MCU remembers Peter Parker and the fact that he's Spider-Man.
Do the Avengers, do they also remember that you're Spider-Man, or how does it work?
I think no one remembers that I'm Spider-Man apart from one.
Nobody remembers
person.
that you're Peter Parker.
No one
they know
remembers that
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yeah, they
apart
know
from
Spider-Man. They just don't know.
one person.
Okay.
Now, of course, everyone immediately jumped to the conclusion that it's probably Sadie Sink's character, but for some reason, I think it might actually be Hulk. I mean, what if Bruce Banner doesn't remember Peter Parker? What if Smart Hulk doesn't remember Peter Parker, but Savage Hulk does? Number 18. Remember this giant hole we saw in the side of this building back in Trailer 1? And I theorized we might see the armored vehicle crashing into it? Well, Trailer 2 confirms it, as we can see Spider-Man trying to stop this vehicle as it's crashing right into this building. This is probably the facility where Sadie Sink's character is being held hostage. Number 19. Nad's Instagram reels are gonna be this movie's way of showing us the passage of time. In the first trailer, we saw Nad making a reel on his first day at MIT. But now in the second trailer, he's making another reel with MJ, and this time he says, final semester at MIT. Also, MJ asking Ned if anyone ever sees these videos that he makes. Well, they do. He has 2,151 reactions, along with 33 comments and 25 reposts. So people are definitely watching what Ned is posting. Number 20. Just before fighting Scorpion, notice the way Spider-Man crash lands into the scene. He takes out 2 billboards on the way down, and then lands on the hood of this car. And this lines up perfectly with all the other scenes where Peter is clearly struggling to control his organic webbing. Remember, Spider-Man is already ridiculously strong even without using his webs. He stopped a jetway while speaking to Steve Rogers, stopped a car going 40 miles per hour with his bare hands, and he even took a punch from the Winter Soldier with ease. So every time we've seen Spider-Man knock out a villain, he was holding back. If he wanted to, he could have killed every one of them. But now, on top of all those powers, he's mutating. His organic webs are way stronger than his mechanical webbings. So Spidey is now in a situation again where he has to pull his punches even more so than before. And that's why he's starting to go out of control. Even the way he whips Scorpion into this police car is another example of that. And that's it. These are the new hidden details and Easter eggs I found watching the second trailer of Spider-Man Brand New Day. I still can't believe that the same guy who gave us this incredible action sequence in the MCU is now about to give us what could be a generational Spider-Man film. Destin Daniel Cretton really seems to have outdone everything we saw in the Home trilogy. And I'm saying this as someone who actually really liked what John Watts did with those movies. You can tell Destin is making sure Spider-Man feels like Spider-Man. We're getting actual swinging scenes, proper movement through New York, and you can clearly see the inspiration from the Insomniac games. I genuinely cannot wait to watch this film. But let me know in the comments if I missed any hard-to-catch hidden detail, and you know I read every single one of them. Now, I want to give a big shout out to Dreams Talks, who helped me a lot finding all these TV spots that are practically scattered all over YouTube right now. Do subscribe his channel, he really deserves it. And please make sure to give me a thumbs up as well if you like this video. Grab the subscribe button and turn notifications on. Till then, I'll see you lads in the next one.
As emotional as the movie is, it does end.
No, don't say.
Yeah, let's just keep it.
Yeah,
keep
let's
it
just.
yeah.